there's just a little more engagement with our fans. Feels stupid even saying the word, but
3 a.m. Dude, I was laying in my bathtub. I was taking a gentleman's bath. I was laying in my bathtub laughing.
You take baths?
Dude, I love a gentleman's bath. Dude,
What's up, guys? Welcome to the You Can't Say That in Church podcast. And we have been, what episode are we doing today, Daniel?
We are going to recap the last week of YouTube fun and drama. That'll be hilarious. We're going to talk about what we see in the Christian social media. I'm reading off my phone if you can't tell. We're going to talk about what we see in the Christian social media and content space, what we like, what we think the future of it is. We're going to talk about our own personal struggles that we've dealt with and work with on interacting with non-believers. We're going to talk about balancing the edge that's needed to be bold in an era of soft and watered-down Christendom, yet remaining Christ-like and gospel-driven. And then where we see You Can't Say That in Church going forward collectively, and kind of just what we want to do in our own personal lives and ministries, what we want to do personally, and yeah. So
what should we start with?
So let's talk about like the last, last week or so.
So just for some context. So just for some context.
Oh, and real quick, we're sitting so smushed together, but guys, Andrew's buying a mansion in Alpharetta soon. Pretty soon, we're gonna have lights, studio, action. It's gonna be pro.
It's gonna be pro.
It's gonna be awesome.
So a little bit of context. Daniel and I have done the podcast for a while, and then within the past couple months, I started doing TikTok videos, and it's gotten me into like video and apologetics and interested in that stuff. I started posting stuff to YouTube, and I started getting interested in like the video world, and that's why we're posting our podcast to YouTube now, because there's just a little more engagement with our fans. I mean, our fans. Feels stupid even saying the word, but if you're
anyone who would like to listen and interact, we can engage more. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, but if you're seeing this on YouTube right now, it's the cool thing about obviously YouTube rather than a podcast is people can respond to individual things, whereas that's not really on the podcast. So anyway, I have a little Christian YouTube channel that I've built up. It maybe has like 400 followers, and I was like, I will just post our content there. But I understand why Daniel necessarily doesn't want me posting the podcast content there, because I just post like my trollish videos.
Because Andrew's a savage and a troll.
And I just post like lots of trollish videos there too.
They're not all trollish. It's just, you got a serrated edge to you. Yeah.
I think we hit our breaking point when like people were responding and engaging with our YouTube videos, which is awesome. But like I was responding saying some stuff, and Daniel was responding
all from the reconstruction of
all from like the same account. Like if somebody said, "You're lost, LOL." It was obviously me.
Or haha, yeah.
Haha, you're going to...
Hope that works out for you. Let me know how that works out in the comment.
My favorite
is... Was that a threat?
My favorite is many are called, few are chosen.
Yeah, so. That's not me, guys. That's not me. So let me recap my version of that. So Andrew's been on TikTok for a while. He makes really good shorts. He's good at editing. I'm not the editor or the producer, if you will, of the show. I just show up and talk. So Andrew puts that work in that I've yet to do. He's been trying to get me on TikTok forever, right? He's been trying to get me to do videos, reply to atheists, reply to progressive Christians, stuff like that. And I'm always like, no, man, I don't want to be part of the system of TikTok, man. But it is a space where, to his point, people interact and you get a lot more engagement. And ultimately, you can have more of an impact if you're out there and you're interacting with the rest of the world instead of just showing up and recording.
It's ministry.
Yeah, it's ministry. No, just kidding. Dude, I'm kidding.
Well, tell that to Apologia. Tell them it's not ministry.
I think there's a difference between showing up at an atheist rally or an abortion clinic and then us just being like, yeah, but you know what? I think... No, just kidding.
Dude. Well, okay, tell Alpha and Omega Ministries with his sweet... tell James White this isn't ministry, you know?
Yeah.
So
you are the next.
I think there's not enough Christians on.
No, I agree.
In video spaces, like it's
So I agreed. We agreed last week that we would do a show reacting. We did. It was fun. And then I made the horrible mistake of thinking that I had the ability to manage going into the comments, reading the comments, and then replying to the comments, which I am so not built for. Yeah. So it'll consume multiple evenings of your life. Yeah, 100%. I'm the type of guy, like, I can't just shrug it off. If someone and dude, I don't have a Facebook, I don't have an Instagram, I don't have any social media. I'm only on YouTube and like listen to podcasts. But it brought me right back to like, oh, somebody replied. I'm gonna bring out the whole argument. And then what I realized very quickly was that like, dude, as soon as you reply to a novel, even if you try to address every single point that was made, it's just like, yep, next novel, next comment.
Yeah.
It's just this never.
Yeah, they're not listening at all.
They're not listening, and you don't like. I think the biggest. Excuse me. I think the biggest thing is that we talk past each other in comments so much, just period. And they're one and done, right? So with that said, like with a recording, you can go back and listen to it with a debate, whatever it is. It's not the case with comments. So anyway, I found myself just like being consumed, replying to comments. And then finally, I also uncovered a couple of maybe a little snarky comments from Andrew. So we had a whole offline conversation. I'm like, bro, you can't say that stuff. You can't reply to an atheist and just say, haha, you're lost. or say, what did the guy say? He's like, I left Christianity and now things have been working out for me so much better. And you were like, yeah, good luck with that. And then he was like, and then you got to put the hug smiley face emoji. Like, Andrew,
dude, wait, what's unchristian about saying good luck with that? I mean, look, okay.
Would Jesus have said that?
Yeah.
Good luck with that?
Dude, that's what he said to the
dust off your feet?
to the rich young. Yeah.
No, he gave him an opportunity to follow him, and then the guy
I gave him an opportunity to follow me.
No, how? By making a video?
I presented the gospel to him, and he rejected it. I mean, okay. I should me just saying you're lost, LOL, or like you're going to hell.
Yeah, that's worse.
Obviously, that is not Christ-like. But me saying good luck with that, like I don't.
It's just a little dry. It's a little. For. Do you think? I'm not saying,
dude. This is why we have separate YouTube channels.
Exactly. So the point is, I was like, Andrew and I talked for like 45 minutes, and I'm like, dude, we can't post stuff like that. I don't want to be associated. Like, but also at the same time, Andrew built the Reconstructionist channel.
Right.
He's been working on it. He does the editing. He does the producing of it. I just talk. I just jumped in. So at the same time, I don't feel that I have, even where there's areas where we may disagree, or just on tact, on theology, whatever it is, I don't feel that I have the place to tell Andrew how to run his channel. So we decided that I'll come on and do reaction videos for the channel, but the podcast will be separate. And then eventually I'll start my own channel as well. It'll be much more distinguished.
Yeah.
Maybe.
What's it going to be called? D-Morg?
The Reconstructionist 2. I'm just kidding. No.
Just a competitor to mine.
Yeah, just start replying to your videos.
Yeah. So, and we'll just say, what are we going to say? I'm not allowed to, just like, I probably should not respond to. So as far as so we're going to have a You Can't Say That in Church YouTube. I am going to continue to have my Reconstructionist YouTube, but we're going to post any podcast content to You Can't Say That in Church. And I'll just say I'm just not going to comment.
So I do not endorse Andrew Parker's comments on the Reconstructionist podcast.
No, right? No. No, there's no Reconstructionist podcast.
I mean on the
You Can't Say That in Church.
And he doesn't endorse mine, other than we collaborate, we're friends,
right?
And
So are we going to say neither of us can comment on You Can't Say That in Church YouTube?
I'm okay with that.
Okay. We'll only do video responses.
I like that, and that was what we wanted to do. Is like, again with the comments, it's like ultimately like you talk past each other. So what we're going to do, and what we think would be more fun too, is. We'll do this later and we'll post it. We have a list of comments that Andrew printed out. Yeah. We'll go through them, we'll reply to them, then we'll post them. And here's the thing, guys. I can't speak for Andrew, but I'll tell you this. I'm not built for that life. I'm not going to engage you in the comments. Yeah. What I'll do is I'll partner up with Andrew.
Invite you to a debate.
If you want to cam up and respond and debate, I am totally down to do that. But what I'm not going to do is spend my life in the YouTube comment section. Yeah. I can't do it.
We're both too busy to do that.
Yeah.
I don't do that on TikTok. It's like what we'll do, we'll make response videos, or we will have a debate with you, but we're not going to respond.
Yeah, we'll definitely do a debate with you, or we'll do videos, etc. Real quick, and I know we're going to respond to this maybe more on dude, I got to say something.
What?
Blake, if you ever watch this, man, you came on the show, a year and a half ago or something like that, Rethinking Christianity. And honestly, that channel and that podcast, I think, from when I first discovered it and started listening to it, you're asking some great questions, man. And I think that there's a space that's really needed. What intrigued me and what made me come to Andrew and be like, yo, we should have this guy on the podcast and talk to him, is that you created a space where kind of in a different way, but kind of in a similar vein of what Andrew and I created this podcast because we wanted to have conversations. That's why, hence the title of the podcast, that people weren't having in church that were too taboo or like, oh, that's we don't talk about that stuff. We wanted to talk about that, and I felt like ours is more from like a bro perspective, maybe of just like riffing and laughing, but yours was more of a thoughtful, like, hey, questions about Christianity. But every time I feel like I've engaged you, man, you had this is so you can cut this part out because this is way more of a direct response. See, this is why I'm not good at the comment section, dude. I just get off and go, so you can cut that. Yeah,
this is your diss track. Wait, so what are you asking of Blake? What do you want him to come on the podcast again?
I would love to talk to Blake again. But I replied to something he said, and then he hasn't. Here's the thing: he hasn't interacted with anything that I've said. And then at one point, he even said, I'm not interested in arguing with you. And I commented back. I said, look, man, I'm not here to argue with you. I'm challenging your point. Yeah. And I thought you had this show to create a space. Like if you're deconstructing Christianity or you're facilitating a space where deconstruction can happen, ultimately the point is to ultimately get you to an answer. But you're having like Mormons on, you can have whoever you want on, but like you're going to be challenged, dude. And that's okay. That's the conversation. Go ahead.
Yeah. He doesn't want people disagreeing with him. I guess, right? He doesn't want to engage with people who disagree with him.
I don't want to charge him that he doesn't want people to disagree. What I would say is, from what I see, is this: you ask a lot of good questions and questions that are fair to ask, but I rarely see you come to a truth claim or even challenge the people that. So I guess what I would ask is like, what is your objective standard of truth? Is it the Bible? And like, are you just okay with like myself, Andrew, whoever, just like challenging the guests you have on your show? I think that's part of, people challenge us, right? That's the whole point. So, anyway, we can cut that.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, we'll definitely cut that.
Okay. All right, I'll cut the Blake part out.
So we're going to cut from here.
Okay.
So we're going to do our own stuff, but we're also, we love doing the podcast together, and we love making reaction videos together. So we're not going to get divorced. So we're going to be...
Mommy and Daddy are still together.
We're still together, guys. It's not your fault. So that was last week. So so wait, real quick, and we'll adjust the comments, but it's like, dude, how do you do it? How do you... You just are built for like replying in the comment section, or you keep it short. That's how you do it, honestly, right?
Dude, I don't like it, dude. Why do you think I keep it so short? Because
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, because I don't like to engage. It's now okay. Here's the thing: is I'm impatient, and so the way I respond to me being impatient is me being a little bit of a jerk.
Okay.
So that's why I'm like, I just see their text and I'm just like, you're lost, LOL, because. I'm like, I'm not going to respond to this.
So for you, it's like arguing with someone who is like at a Starbucks and they're just like whatever, and you're finally just like throw up your hands.
For some reason, dude, I don't.
For some reason, I'm nicer in person.
Isn't everybody?
Sure.
Like if somebody's genuinely expressed, dude, people are. That's kind of the whole problem with the internet is like,
right.
If somebody was talking to me at Starbucks, of course I would sit and listen for 2 hours. But in a comment section where you're just gonna kind of be a troll and hide in the shadows and comment, I'm not gonna take that seriously.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Generally on TikTok, if somebody sends me a video response on TikTok, I will take it seriously and I will formulate a video response back. But if they just want to comment, like I don't even read comments on TikTok.
You don't?
Not really.
Yeah.
Because it's usually people who have already made up their mind. Who I'm interested in is the people who are watching.
Right.
Like there's this third party who hasn't made up their mind yet, who's actually watching the debate. And so,
do you think that third party wants to see Christ-like behavior?
Totally, and that's why I just don't respond to comments. Exactly, dude. That's why I don't. That's why I don't respond to the comments.
Dude, I sent
because they want to see Christ-like behavior, so I don't read the comments.
I definitely
flee temptation.
Yeah, right. I will spend 30 minutes arguing in a comment. I can't do it. So guys, we're gonna get real for a second. We're gonna get vulnerable, if you will. So I wanted to talk about
when keeping it real goes wrong.
When keeping it real, Christian. Yeah. So we wanted to talk about I wrote down our own personal struggles that we've dealt with and work on consistently now, even to this day, with interacting with non-believers, whether online or whatever.
Yeah.
I can start and then you can go.
Yeah.
So and we're going to try to be as real as possible. So I don't think that I necessarily have like a problem with being snarky, like Andrew. I don't think that I have like.
That's your strength.
I don't think that I have that. What I definitely do have, though, is I don't know when to let up. I don't know when to let a conversation or a debate or argument breathe. I don't always know when to take the pressure off. And I don't always notice how maybe my tone is or how maybe I'm not being as compassionate as I should be. And I make it more about the argument than the person. And to some degree, like, I think that a lot of Christians are really soft when it comes to like, well, we don't want to offend anyone. So I'm always conscious of not being like that because I think truth is very important. But I also, hence why I'm not in the comment section anymore, dude, you and I have gotten into it before where I literally, one time I was arguing with Andrew about something and it was like 3 a.m. Dude, I was laying in my bathtub. I was taking a gentleman's bath. I was laying in my bathtub laughing.
You take baths?
Dude, I love a gentleman's bath. Dude,
Do you use a bath bomb?
Dude, I'll squirt the Whole Foods unscented soap because I got sensitive skin. And then I'll do the bubbles and everything. Not always. It's glorious. I call it a gentleman's bath.
You talking about when we were arguing about abortion?
Well, we weren't arguing about abortion. We were arguing about
Calvinism?
In vitro.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, if you create humans and then dispose of them, and then Andrew's like, yeah, I don't know. And then I'm like, dude, like, and then I literally was like,
dude, literally.
I literally started, hold on. I literally started doing quotes like, because Andrew's in a young adults ministry, and I started doing like, I'm like, okay, cool. Then if it's not a child if it's not a child when it's this big, then like, I was doing a quote of like some guy coming up to Andrew, hey man, I got my girlfriend pregnant, and then I would do Andrew's response, don't worry, man, it's not a baby yet. And then like a week later when I saw and then eventually I kept going hammering Andrew, and then he's like, dude, just grow up. He's like, it's time to let it go or something like that. And then like a week later, he was like, yeah, I think you were right. I just didn't want to admit it.
Let me talk for a minute about kind of my inability to argue with people online. So, dude, honestly,
wait, real quick. Andrew and I, we're not going to get into what, but Andrew and I just literally, we edited this, so we're coming back. We just got into like a 25-minute conversation / argument that literally proves exactly what he and I what we're talking about now.
Yeah. So, and this will
be vulnerable.
Dude, this is interesting to share with the podcast, but like, I like debating people. I am naturally drawn towards debate. I'm naturally drawn towards arguments about God. And it started for me back in like the Facebook days in like 2012. I used to do it on this message board even before that. And like in present day, I'm doing it on TikTok and YouTube. And like I have to think at some point that like God has put this in me because there must be like some redeeming purpose to it. And so anyway, all this to say, there's a lot of pitfalls of like arguing with people, discussing people, but I also want to encourage people. And like, if you go to Reconstructionist, like the whole reason for my YouTube channel and the reason for my TikTok channel is like, if people want to be snarky and short with Christianity, I should be able to be snarky and short about atheism.
No.
No, you don't think so?
No. And the other day, Andrew was like, hold on, let me just say this real quick. Andrew was like, so I called Andrew. When Andrew gave me access to the channel, I log in. And I'm reading my comments, and then I just scroll down to like comments like 4 months ago, and I just see this litany of like the haha, you're lost, smiley hug face emoji, whatever. And I call Andrew, I texted him, I was like, bro, we can't can't do this. And then he calls me and he's like, dude, what's wrong with doing that? And I'm like, because it's not Christ-like. And he's like, you're right. All right.
Yeah. No, Daniel's better at like pointing out when I'm not being very loving. So, Dude, so what is...
But get real, bro. What
dude,
is...
but what is the purpose? So like, look at like what Apologia is doing. What is surely there's a place for robust Christian
I think that's a good transition
debate.
To the next...
Surely there's a place for robust Christian debate because people need to see all sides of this. I think what I have seen on TikTok is I have seen just like these terrible arguments against God, and people love retweeting them and circulating them, and they're so bad. And for me, TikTok has just been a place that's begging for somebody on the other side to step in and say, hey, these arguments are actually really flimsy, and here's why. Because your average middle-of-the-road person can't articulate these arguments. And I hate to see people led astray by these, like, honestly, demonic forces that have taken over TikTok with people. These are people who just hate God, and they're looking for any reason to justify their sin. And it's like somebody has to come in there and shed some light on it.
Totally. So what I would say to that is I agree with you. I think that there's a need for a serrated edge on the argument itself.
What do you mean by that?
Meaning that we knew a guy, I won't mention his name, but he used to be in the old Bible study, and he had a great line one time. He said, always be loving to people, but be ruthless with ideas and arguments. In other words, you as a human being made in the image of God, we should always be, First Peter, man, always be prepared to give an answer, which is what you're talking about doing, yet do it in gentleness and reverence. Paul telling Timothy, do not repay evil with evil, but be kind to everyone. So, the Lord may grant them repentance. My point is, we should demolish the arguments. We should have zero, and I think this is where a space like yours is needed, if it's done right, or mine is needed if it's done right, is the arguments themselves. The church has not done the best job. Places like Apologia and Canon Press and Joel Webbin and even non-reform guys, they do a great job. Alisa Childers, they're not reformed by any means, but they do a great job of, like, what do you, even Ruslan, dude, who's not reformed at all, is like, bro, absolutely not. My whole point is, to answer your thing, we should be ruthless when it comes to false gospels and false ideas. But what we have to be careful in the midst of that, though, is not demolishing the person on a personal attack or getting into snarkiness like they would or anything like that, because we don't wage those weapons. That's what they do. You ever notice how mad atheists generally are? Yeah. Even at debates, like, you take a smart, brilliant man like Dawkins or Hitchens versus Craig or John Lennox, and it's like, you just see the spirit versus someone who doesn't have the spirit. So we need to be demolished, and I think our biggest example would be the epistles. Paul is ruthless when it comes to false ideas and false truths, but he's always talking about being kind to everyone, especially, and this is the last thing I'll say about it, I think that we got more listens on the Andy episode than any other episode, almost, right? Yeah,
like twice as many listens on that Andy episode.
And I'm proud of that episode. I think that was our best episode yet. And we're not gonna, and just so you know, guys, we're not gonna become like the discernment ministry of, like, at first we were like, should we talk about the whole Mike Todd Easter thing? And then we came to, like, I think we were like, we don't want to be the freaking, guess who the heretical guy within Christendom is now. We don't want to do that. Not saying Mike Todd's heretical, but all that to say, the reason I think that when it comes to you and your space and spaces like this, or YouTube ministries, especially interacting with non-believers or non-Christians, which are all non-believers, I feel more comfortable having a serrated edge, having an edge with people who claim the church and the gospel. And Paul seems to as well in the epistles. Like, he has zero patience for false teachers. But when it comes to unbelievers, we have to, I'm not saying you shouldn't watch how you talk to Christians. Obviously, we don't want to devour one another. But we, especially in a space where you have to that middle person on the road watching, you want to be the one embodying. Because here's the reality, Andrew, and then I'll let you have it. The reality is that not everyone is going to be drawn to the Lord by the logical arguments or the objective moral arguments. We just love demolishing arguments that can't stand. We enjoy exposing false truths, but a lot of times people are won over by conduct, by things like that. You know what I mean? Like, you praying for the people that you're talking about. The atheists aren't saying best wishes to you. So yes, it's important to have an edge against false arguments, but it's important to have grace for the lost.
Yeah, and two, that reminds me, two sort of practical things I've learned making videos for TikTok. And, like, the deal with TikTok was I got pretty popular and had a bunch of videos, and then I got banned, lost my account, got banned again. And just how you get banned on TikTok is all it takes is somebody reporting your video.
You just say Jesus. You just say Jesus in your ban.
Basically, they just click on it and they can report you for hate speech. It doesn't matter what you've said. If you just upset somebody, they will report you for hate speech. I literally just read the Bible and it was reported for hate speech.
Really?
So yeah, so I've gotten banned for hate speech for literally just reading the Bible.
Nice.
But what I was going to say about that is
but do you see what I'm saying about having the edge with the argument versus the person?
Yeah, no. So
push back if you.
I know. I totally. I think it's like a situation of concentric circles. Like, yes, my prime target, honestly, on YouTube, on TikTok, first of all, is like progressive Christians, people who claim Christianity and then just spread complete nonsense. So yes, I totally agree with you. That is like the first people we should correct is fellow Christians.
Yeah, and notice how, even look at Durbin, notice how he interacts with, when you see him talking to like an LES person or Jehovah's Witness or an atheist, he like in the streets, he's very soft, he's very graceful. And not that he wasn't gracious with, what's the guy's name? Brandon Roberts.
Brendan Robertson,
but he spared him. It's like, oh, you're going to claim my God? Okay, bro. I'm going to be gracious to you in the sense that I'm not going to personally attack you, but I'm not going to shy away from calling you a false teacher or an apostate. So, yeah, I think that, anyway.
Yeah, and then also sort of like, because, when I first got started in TikTok, and then I practically took like almost a year off TikTok, and now I'm kind of back to it. But I think another thing I learned is just, yes, answering like no matter how nasty and trollish their argument is, and no matter how much they're trolling Christians and how angry they are at Christians, I used to respond to that with like, haha, you're an idiot, like making fun of them back. And then of course I would cite like, well, God was sarcastic with Job, like, so in the Old Testament one time, so like it's okay if I'm sarcastic with people, but it really It really is a bad look to be like making fun of them and laughing at them. And so I've pretty much cut out all that content. I don't make fun of people or laugh at them on TikTok. I literally just take their trollish, crazy argument and I just say, well, here's why that's not logical. Here's what the Bible says about that. And God, I'm just super chill in my response.
Yeah, and God was sarcastic with Job's idea and thought that he could somehow question God. Mm-hmm. But he wasn't sarcastic about the actual like person of Job and his pain. It was more of his standing of, who are you to question me? Can you tell me, did you create Leviathan? Did you do this? So it's more about the argument itself versus Job the man.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It's a stretch. It's a stretch to say just because God was sarcastic one time, we can be like sarcastic.
If God did it, I can do it. That's the argument.
Well, because it's like, how many times was Paul sarcastic? I mean, you could argue Paul was sarcastic sometimes, but it was towards Christians.
Mostly towards Christians.
I can't think of a time Paul was sarcastic towards non-believers.
Be kind to everyone.
Yeah.
But being kind includes telling them the truth when they believe a false idea as well.
Yeah.
So all that to say, what I wrote down in the notes is that I'm not perfect. Andrew's definitely not perfect. No,
wait, what?
My whole point is I'm not perfect. Andrew's not perfect. We are not the same person. We're trying to figure it out. We're growing. I think he and I both, if you've listened to episodes on this channel, we're never going to be the soft tiptoe around guys, and we recognize that, but we also recognize that we have flaws, and we want to be as Christ-like, as professional, and as effective more than anything, as effective and God-honoring and God-glorifying in these apologetic interactions and in these back and forths, because we do want to demolish false arguments, but we also want to love people. So we're figuring it out.
Yeah. And also, I think we've both said this, this is definitely true for my personal TikTok and any YouTube content we create, is I don't really want to get super down in the weeds. Like, there are some apologetics guys.
Oh, yeah, we should talk about that, yeah.
There are some apologetics guys who get so in the weeds with
the theological argument for the existence of God is actually, you can't fundamentally make the argument.
Yeah.
Totally.
So, I like the idea of keeping it within the realm of, like, basic, because there's a lot of like basic arguments people are in the world are putting out against God, and so I like keeping it in the realm of like things that your average person can understand. I don't want to do a 10-part series on like Seventh Day Adventists. Is like is the Jehovah of Numbers 7:22 the same Jehovah that is I don't want to get too like granular. So, but we're gonna keep
the Sabbath is actually the 6th day because if you look,
yeah.
For
So
sure.
anyway, we're gonna keep making this podcast. Now we're doing YouTube content too. So looking forward to it.
Let's talk about what we see in the Christian social media YouTube content space, what we like, and what we think the future of it is. So I'll start with that. So praise God, there's been like a resurgence of YouTube content and creators and apologists that are not even necessarily like apologists into your point about the loftiness and the academic scholarliness.
Yeah.
Dude, Mike Winger, he went to seminary.
Right.
Alisa Childers is in seminary.
Right.
But
Ruslan didn't.
Ruslan did it, and they're not Billy Craig, dude. They're not freaking. They're not James White. Even Jeff Durbin's like, dude, I have an MDiv. Like that's all. Like it's not like I'm a PhD and like.
Did Durbin go to seminary?
He went to but he went like 10 years into it, and then like during the ministry, you'd hear him talk about like in the past 15 years, he'd be like, yeah, I'm finishing Bible college. He like just got on the ground running. So my point is like, obviously,
academia
and scholarly stuff. Like I enjoy sometimes doing deep dives in that stuff, but you're right that, dude, the same reason that you or I are not going to read. By the way, guys, any of you guys commenting on any of these videos or any of Andrew's videos or any reaction video, if it's more than like a paragraph or two, I'm not reading it. And I don't know if Andrew is, but I promise I promise you I'm not reading it.
We're not. And post a video response. If you send us a video response, we'll respond to it.
Yeah. So I think what I see the future of, so there's been in the past, I would say 5-6 years, man, there's been this like, this growth of Christian YouTube, TikTok content creators that are able to simplify things in the way that I always talk about how C.S. Lewis was the greatest, because a plumber or a teacher or a lawyer or a priest could pick up Mere Christianity and understand the concept. It wasn't up here lofty like when you listen to even William Lane Craig sometimes. I'm like, what? Or like when you listen to a lot of these guys. So I feel like the future, the way it's going now, is a guy who like Winger, who he's a youth pastor, he has some education, but like it's not this loftiness. It's just biblical, simple truths, man. What do you? And I think that's the future of the space.
Yeah, well, I think Winger's the exception, because Winger will go. People still seem to really like him though, because the dude's so freaking smart.
He does, but he is, and he does do deep dives. He has like a 5-part series. Each one's like 2 hours long on like the whole complementarian egalitarian thing. But dude, honestly, have you ever listened to Mike Winger and been like super confused?
No,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So you're right. He's more Ruslan, and Ruslan is more like social, like updates and stuff like that. Reaction. I'm just saying.
Even Alan Parr is more like, and these are all guys.
Today we're gonna talk about God.
Yeah.
Does the Bible? And then I see him I love Alan Parr. Then I see him on Ruslan. He's like, so basically, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Or like, what do you mean? The dude with the snapback. You know what I'm talking about?
I don't know.
I'll show you a picture of him. But this guy, what do you mean? He's one of my favorite guys, dude. He is so like, it's so.
Was that his Facebook page?
His channel's called "What Do You Meme?" and then he always does. Here it is. You'll recognize him once you see him. Dude, come on.
These are. By the way, these are all people we like and support.
Absolutely,
Alan Parr,
100%.
Ruslan, Mike Winger,
that guy,
Durbin.
You've seen him.
Oh, he's. What do you meme?
What do you mean?
Oh, that guy's awesome.
That guy's awesome. And he's not lofty. It's like he makes it, and they're short. So my whole point is, I think that the future, and what I think you would love to be a part of, I would love to be a part of, no matter how big it gets, but just whatever the Lord gives us to steward, is to be a part of this wave that is understandable, accessible Christian content that answers false arguments brought up against Christ.
Yeah.
And we love Sproul, we love Keller, well, Keller is actually great at simplifying things too. So we that's where I see it.
It's just you probably have to like mine his sermons for the good stuff. But and if you're listening to this right now and you think there's something we could do better, like literally
comment so we won't
literally
read it.
this many people, 0 people have given us feedback on the podcast.
It's only
I always
atheists.
ask for feedback on this. Well, that's on the YouTube. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, on the podcast.
I just mean like I'm more asking about the podcast in general. Do you like what we're doing? Is it beneficial to you? Please reach out and tell us because we still don't really know. But I'm hoping.
Yeah, if you have a topic that you'd like us to cover, we'd love to. If it's interesting and if it's relevant, we'd love to cover it.
But this is more our lane of like relevant, accessible.
Fun too. We always want to have fun and laugh and like right?
Right. Yeah. We do.
Like we're
Relevant, accessible, and fun.
Exactly. There you go. But I'm saying you and I aren't going to discuss like.
Yeah.
We're not going to discuss like the nature of the Trinity for an hour.
Nah.
That's what I'm saying.
Nah. Yeah. It's like it's pretty like down to earth practical stuff.
Just the bros. Let's see.
So.
Okay, so we kind of already touched on this, but where we see You Can't Say That in Church going forward collectively and what we want to do personally with content. So we already talked about You Can't Say That in Church. We're going to keep doing what we're doing. We're going to make a new YouTube channel, or Andrew is going to make a new YouTube channel for it, and we're going to put it out separate on that channel. So the Reconstructionist channel and You Can't Say That in Church are two separate things. We're two separate humans. We're the best of friends, but we also...
Daniel doesn't want to be responsible.
I don't want to be.
I don't
want to be associated with Andrew.
He doesn't want to be associated with my trolling videos.
I don't. But I also like. Okay, for perfect example. If I'm not going to bring up the subject, but the subject we just argued about.
Mm-hmm.
If I felt convicted a month from now to make a video on that, I don't think that you would want me to post that to Reconstructionists because you're not sure where you land on that, right?
Right. Yeah.
So I think that's. I think that's
a great example.
Yeah, and again. That's your channel. It's been your channel.
Yeah.
So for me to come in and be like,
you
can't say that.
So the way to look at it is, You Can't Say That in Church is our YouTube channel.
Yes.
Reconstructionist is me.
Andrew Parker's
and
channel.
Then whatever Daniel wants to call his new YouTube channel is going to
philosophy.
So I'll talk about what I want to do and then where you want the Reconstructionists to go, and then we can kind of wrap the podcast part up and then do the reactions. But I think that I don't know, man. I got to think about that because I'd be interested to hear your thoughts as well. So, like, am I in frame?
Yeah.
Okay. I have so many people in my life that even some that are not necessarily Christians, but that I know like great conversations would come out of, like, and just like they're great like the guy who trained me at Networks and taught me how to sell, like. We could have the best conversation about the art of closing deals and not in some business way, but just in like almost like a chess jujitsu way. And then I know other people, but I also want to make Christian content. So I'm not 100% sure yet. I think and not that anybody's going to be Joe Rogan, but I think what makes Joe Rogan's podcast so popular is that, dude, he talks about MMA, aliens, philosophy, comedy, hunting, meat, nutrition. At the same time, he has the ability to get all of the most interesting experts from those fields on. So I don't know that would work for an average guy. If you're just starting a podcast and you're unknown, you kind of need a theme and a topic, right?
Yeah, and Joe Rogan was like already famous before he did all this. So
yeah, sure too. So I don't know. I don't know yet. We'll see what happens, but when I know, it'll be there.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out. Peace.